don't know why there's anti-flat earthers or something like that?
No, I'm not saying I don't know why.
Oh.
What I'm saying is I did not realize the communities were organized or that there were communities. I thought that flat earth, like 6 months ago, right, I would have thought that flat earthers are people that are just sort of have their own ideas, but they're not necessarily organized. They don't meet. I didn't know anything about flat earthers. I only heard about them. I didn't know they were in groups talking about it, discussing it, having conferences. Like, I did not know that. And I did not know that there was a passionate globe community that were oppositional in the debating arena against flat earthers. I wasn't even aware that it was such a topic.
Well, it's interesting because they'll say they're against flat earth, and you ask them what it is, and they can't even tell you. They'd say they've debunked flat earth. Okay, sure. So what was the claim of flat earth? They'll tell you flat earthers haven't made any claims. You're like, well, how do you disagree with something you can't define? How did you debunk something that never made a claim? See, to them, just simply disagreeing with the globe is like a mortal sin. Like, a lot of these guys are atheists. So when they hear you say the Earth might be something other than the current model, see, what's interesting too is that they'll reject the last 3,000 models of heliocentric and say this model is correct. I've rejected some 3,001, just one more model than they have.
That's the Ricky Gervais quote, mate.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when you try to say, hey, inside your atheist paradigm, why is the current model the only acceptable model when it was built on all the other ones, and all the other ones are wrong? It's quite, that's what I'm saying, is trying to find a way to get them to, it sounds kind of toxic, but whatever, to self-regulate, to diffuse. Because when they come in here talking about flat Earth, they're bringing in some other baggage that we don't know about. Like, one of the ones I've said before is like, they have a fantasy about making out with green alien chick.
But hang on. I mean, the consensus is a moving consensus, right? That the Earth is a globe. The concept that the Earth is flat is not like a new avant-garde, forward-thinking concept. It is in the pile of rubble of everything that we have previously explored and believed at some point in human history, right? So it's not like I don't see flat Earth as being. Oh well, maybe it is now because there is an actual community that's for to your credit, thinking critically, right? But it's still a model that is on the pile of rubble of like you say, old heliocentric model, and like the old models before when we used to believe that the sun revolved around the Earth.
Geocentric.
That's been thrown out. There's been lots of things that the scientific community has had consensus on that has been thrown out.
Yeah, and that's the part that you're missing. It hasn't been thrown out. What you've seen is sort of cementing, or instead of having separate people doing their own experiments and self-publishing, you've had a centralization of like a peer-reviewed process. Like, complete control over narrative.
The scientific community.
That isn't a thing. There is not a scientific community.
Sure.
That is like, that is a misnomer. There's no scientific community that exists. You can't go there. They don't have a building or an office.
Okay, well, let's just call it consensus.
It's a misnomer too, because science is always done by one person breaking away from the common sort of held belief.
Often. Yeah, that's true.
Science is not built on consensus. Science is
even
built
Darwin's theory of evolution. Obviously he was on his own at one point, arguing the case against Christian science, right? And so he was the
No, he was still in there. He, like, if you read his book, he did not include white people as part of evolution. That there's some other explanation for why white people are. I mean, that book is like The Origin of Species. It's about as racist and bigoted as you can get. It is weaponized bigotry. Straight up.
I've got the book, and I was recently reading chapter 6, Flaws in the Theory.
It is not something that you would want to show people as a good science book. That book is basically
I agree with that, actually. I do agree with that because I mean, especially if Darwinism becomes ethos, it's actually quite dangerous. If it becomes ideology, then survival of the fittest becomes part of your ideology. It's actually very dangerous. I mean, then you've got Hitler.
Eugenics. You got anti-miscegenation. You got social Darwinism, where they want to make laws to criminalize people, like say the drug war. The drug war. They said, make the drug war. Make using drugs or addictive personalities illegal. That way, you can remove them from the gene pool by locking them in the prison.
Yeah, I've got books about social Darwinism on my bookshelf, mate. Like I read all about it 10 years ago. That's it's real. I mean, when survival, when the idea of survival of the fittest becomes your ultimate metric for morality, and it's dangerous, very dangerous. But I was recently reading his Flaws in the Theory and books. They should always have a chapter on flaws in the theory, and his chapter 6 goes through all of the flaws. I was reading that he said something to the effect of, if my theory is true, as I look around in the future, as I look around as we speak now, there should be innumerable transitional species. Further, one day when I go through the strata of the ground, or the different layers of the earth in the future, when we've got better technology, we should be able to find innumerable transitional species, and we don't. We simply don't. We simply don't see innumerable transitional species. I don't look around and see wings starting to come out of people's backs or anything like that. We don't see innumerable transitional species. If anything, we see, like, what we actually see is leaps, in my opinion. I think X-Men's probably a better explanation of the way things work.
Just real quick, what you touched on earlier with crit, and you guys both kind of hit it.
But here's the thing on the atheist versus people that are theists. If let's say all atheists are correct, okay? Let's say that atheists
No, they're not.
are correct. Well, hypothetically,
They couldn't be. Well, Rolo, they couldn't be inside the global this debate.
Okay, let him go. Let him go. Shut up, idiot! I was just doing a joke.
For the atheists to be correct, all the astronauts would have to be wrong. Every single one.
I
want you to hold on to that thought, because I like that line of thought.
Okay, go ahead.
Where I was trying to, I'm going to come back to that point you just made. But I was going to throw out this thought, like, if it's an observation or a thought that if, let's say hypothetically, the atheists are right, and everyone that believes in a god or deity is wrong. Well, it's not really, outside of social issues, it doesn't have necessarily huge practical impacts on the world. I mean, other than political decisions and social issues. It doesn't mean that planes are going to fall out of the sky. Like, there's not there's no things that are going to stop working if we believe in a god. Like, there's no impact outside of social. I mean, we might be able to think of some, but most of the impacts are going to be social. Right?
I think you're way off there, because all of Western culture is built on God-given human rights. Like, if you take away that God, all of Western culture will collapse. Just that quick.
All right, so I would agree with you, because but you're listing a social impact. Okay, and so that's what I mean. It's all social impacts. But your microwave's still going to work, and your TV's still going to turn on. Okay? Like, technology will work. Like, things are going to continue working. Your plumbing will keep working. When you jump on a plane, it'll operate. But it doesn't have it. It only affects social things, really, mostly. But okay, keeping that thought in mind. One of the reasons why myself, and I will say that I'm a novice, right? I'm not coming in as an expert. I work in communications and advertising, and I've only just become aware of this debate. But one of the reasons why I'm a globe earther is because, one of my logics, and it's sort of a fairly underused argument that I have not really heard people put forward. I've only heard people argue science. But the reason I would be erring towards globe Earth is because I can't, if you can imagine all the interdisciplinary independent experts around the world that need to cooperate, all right, in order to have things work. I have to assume that most experts around the world, and by experts, I'm sort of thinking about people that work in artillery. They might be snipers, right? They have to work out the Coriolis effect and their guns. Aviators. It's people that design satellite systems. Rocket scientists. My little brother is a naval architect, an engineer. We've got geology experts, telecommunications. I could just keep going. Astronomers, whatever. You've got so many people.
Yeah, but
this is that elephant hurling we're talking about earlier.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, but Arlo, you're using these people they're using a system that's built on a spherical coordinate system. So that longitude, latitude.
I agree that they are.
So what they're presupposing is that the system that they're using is taking advantage of the Earth as a globe. That's why That's why they're in the mindset that they are. So you've just named off all these people who are utilizing systems that are thinking that they're Earth, that they're taking advantage of the system.
You're helping me with my point that I'm about to make. you're helping me with my point that I'm about to make. Because
the point is that would be a hard counter to atheism, where you'd say, look at all these people: Buddhists, Muslims, Jewish, Christians, whatever. I'm trying to think of other minor religions, pagans, Wiccans, all of them. All these interdisciplinary religious beliefs all come to the same conclusion that there's a creator.
If it's only person,
the only group who isn't able to get to a conclusion would be the atheist. So that would, like, using that same logic, you can only have one or the other. Either you got your globe or you got your atheism.
And we'll go back to that in a second, because that's mostly social impacts. But what I'm talking about here is different, right? Because and the other fellow who was just talking, saying that they're all basing their knowledge on globe physics, he's absolutely right. They are basing all of their education. You can safely assume that every single one of them has been educated at whatever university level that is required. They would have been taught globe physics. Now, my logic,
they're just physics.
If the Earth is not a globe,
hold on, dude. There's just physics. There's no globe physics.
Feel free to. I'll say one sentence and then criticize me, right? If you want.
No, this is what we're talking about. Your tactic of elephant hurling, rather than just go by point by point.
Well, okay. I guess what I'm saying is, if the Earth was not a globe, then thousands of independent experts across all of the dozens, and I haven't even mentioned them all, but all dozens of unrelated fields, ranging from weapons engineering to satellite design, aviation, astronomy, all of it. GPS systems.
That's not correct.
Sasha,
they would all be producing wrong results.
Okay, so
the systems would not work.
If the atheist was correct, all these religions were producing societies, moral systems, courts, all these systems that you abide by every day would be producing inaccurate results.
All I'm saying is, if we are not on a globe Earth and all of their globe physics that they were taught is wrong.
No, it's not globe physics.
Right now. See, like you reset.
Hold on. Hello. Did you not hear what he said? It's not globe physics.
I'll shut up now and listen to your response in full, okay?
Yeah, it's not globe physics. Do you keep labeling it as See, I think a lot of the times people have problems with, like, vernacular. You think that there's globe physics. There isn't globe physics. There's just physics. You keep saying that. It's a misnomer. You're trying to make it sound like there's this thing called globe physics. There isn't globe physics. It's just physics.
Not only that, he's claiming that all weaponry, it's made to work on the spherical Earth. Did you get it?
Yeah, we're just giving it. Look, the idea was he's trying to defend why he knows that government lies to him. Sasha, maybe you just joined. That he's saying, a couple years ago. Oh, hold on, Sasha. A couple years ago, he fully realized that the systems that shouldn't be, they're wrong, they're incorrect. That he's skeptical about what government has said, but for some reason he's holding out that the Earth still has to be a globe, and what he wants to do here is give some sort of reason and get feedback on that of why he knows everything they say is a lie, but this one thing isn't.
But yeah, he said, all these experts in weaponaries, but we know people who was in military that never ever of us ever accounted or had the weapon, for that accounting or curvature or the rotation.
Yeah, these are what we consider baseless claims. Now he's saying, basically, he's stacking a lot of claims that all these people are utilizing information such as what he just described, which is a misnomer, globe physics. They're not using globe physics. Yeah, they're using the system that the Earth is a globe based on, longitude and latitude. So that's coordinate system. Has been giving people the impression that the Earth is some sort of spherical shape based on the celestial sphere. So it has nothing to do with the terrestrial sphere that you think you live on, Arlo, or anyone, actually. So they're utilizing the same coordinate system. It's not physics. It's a coordinate system. And they're thinking that the Earth is abiding by the principle of that coordinate system being itself a globe. And it's not. So you have to provide evidence that the Earth that you're standing on is a globe. But the physics that actually precede people living on the Earth is just detailing how we understand things, cause and effect, reaction, things that happen within the physical world. So it has nothing to do with the curvature of the Earth or anything of the like. The coordinate system is giving people the impression that they're working over a spherical Earth. So all these people that you just mentioned think that they live on a globe, but there's no evidence of that on the Earth, right? The physics detail just what the physics detail. So
why is my little brother, right? He's a naval architect and designer, but specifically works with he does a lot with aerodynamics. He also works specifically on warships, American warships. He's an Aussie.
That's good.
Living out he's in Denmark at the moment. He's a glober. I mean, obviously, I'm going to appeal to.
Dude. Listen. It doesn't matter what somebody's belief system is. You could believe that unicorns exist.
What about when they're kind of working?
I'm gonna get to that. So if they utilize technology that supposedly they think they're on a globe, we have to find out where they're making that connection. Why do they think that? So you could ask.
You know what? I have not heard
Arlo,
flat Earth argument.
hold on, dude. Just ask him, dude. Just wait.
Go on.
You need to ask him specific questions about his job. Say, wherein what you do utilizes the Earth as a globe. So once he tells you, you'll be able to find out. Instead of saying, well, my brother's a glober, so therefore he's in the military and the Earth is a globe. No, you can't do that. You got to find out why he thinks
I understand that that's thin logic, but like obviously, as somebody that's not an engineer like my brother is, my brother's a mathematical genius.
That's great. That's great.
But I'm not. Obviously, to some extent, I'm going to appeal to my brother.
That's good, dude. But you're not. Ask him the specific question. Like, be inquisitive. Say, hey, okay, so you're saying the Earth is a globe, and you're a mathematician. I want you to point out where the connection is, where any of the systems that you use utilize the actual Earth as a globe.
Well, he'd probably talk about the missile guiding systems or something like that.
That's good. That's good. But then tell him where in that does it like have him show you, and then you can report back to us. Say, look, this is what he uses. These are the equations or whatever. And then you can present it to us, and we'll have a look at it. Other than that,
I mean,
you just believe
sure the Flat Earth groups are prepared with a response for nearly almost. From what I've seen over the last 6 months, you've generally got like a rebuttal to nearly everything. I mean, what would you say about the Coriolis effect that's calculated into missile guiding system, like bullets?
Yeah, that has been when we ask people this question, and this question gets brought up quite often. For some people that actually ask this, right? We ask them, can you show us anything, even the math? It doesn't matter what you show us. Show us the equations that are used for these missile guidance systems so that we can see it for ourselves and be able to say what this is that we're looking at. If you don't show nothing, then how can we say, yeah, you're right. They're utilizing the Earth as a globe. You have to show us what they're using. You can't just make these claims like a lot of people do when they come here. Oh, they're using the system. And the missile guidance system is showing us that it's utilizing the Earth as a globe. We're like, dude, just show us. Yeah, show us the equations. Let's see what we got. And if it turns out that it's a globe, so be it. But if we're looking at something that's using a presupposition of a missile guidance system utilizing a coordinate system, then we're going to point to you that it's just using the coordinate system. And then nowhere is it telling that the Earth is a globe.
Hey, can you hear me?
It's obvious. Yeah, go ahead.
Kick me out. Hang on.
We've done much research on this, dude.
Hey, Discord kicked me out. I went flat on my phone. I had to come back in, so I just missed what you said.
Dude.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. I kicked out for 15 seconds, man.
Yeah, we're getting feedback from your.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm on my computer. Well, I might have to come back when my phone's charged, right?
All right.
Because my PC's not going to be good on it. I'm on 0%, so.
Yeah, charge your stuff and then come back. It's not like the answer is going to change. It's going to be the same thing.
Hey, Crit, are you still here?
We've got R in here. R, do you know the R value of the Earth? Is it R or is it Which one is it? Just checking.
I'm going to change my name to Z, like for sleep, waiting for someone to actually prove that the globe is real. I'm going to fall asleep.
Are you able to unmute? Okay.
What's up?
There we go. Hey, R.
So
prove to us that the Earth is a globe. Start with Earth curve measurements that we can verify.
Isn't Earth like 3,900 or 4,000 miles in diameter?
That's incorrect.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
I'll give you a hint. That is the R value. Remember R value is 3959. You should know that, seeing as how,
I said 3,900 to 4,000. I don't know the exact number because I'm not used.
You said diameter, which is twice the radius, so you don't even know what you're talking about as far as geometry is concerned. You're not doing very well so far right now.
Well, I mean, I don't use Google or Chat GPT to debate, so I'm using my own words.
This is all off of my own mind. See, I researched. You haven't researched. You don't even know what an R value is. You don't know what diameter is.
Yeah. I also don't have a screen in front of my face. I'm on Discord on my phone.
A screen in front of my face, so we're both on a level playing field. So tell me, how did they measure to get that R value R?
Like I said, I ain't got a screen in front of my face.
Okay, so you don't know any of this, but you think you live on a ball? What is it about the Earth that makes you think it's a ball, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. Probably all the history books, basic, taught in school that it's round. Astronauts, the career that NASA has made.
You're not paying attention very well. I asked you, what is it about the Earth, not all the things that you were indoctrinated with. What is it about the Earth that makes you think it's a ball? Is it the fact that the water's flat or the horizon's flat?
I don't think it's flat at all.
Okay, so then water does not have a level surface.
If water had a level surface, there wouldn't be waves.
I'm talking about the overall description or measurement of the surface. Is there waves in the glass of water that you have on your table?
No, because it's on a flat surface.
Right, and that flat surface, is that on a flat ground?
Yeah, I'm on a house.
So where's this flat ground overall, the surface of the Earth, large areas, where's that curving at, consistent with the R value, 3959 radius?
I live in the U.S. There's a thing called gravity. There's a thing called gravity.
Really? Can you show it to me?
Oh, never mind. It doesn't pay to do it.
Okay, so there's a thing called gravity, but you've never seen it.
You can't argue. You can't debate against somebody that.
This is a projection.
You can't argue. I mean, you can't debate with someone that says, if I see it with my own two eyes, then I'll believe it, because there is no convincing them, so there is no point to debating them.
Right, so you've never seen the globe Earth with your own two eyes, and yet you believe it, right?
Yup, because I don't need to see something to believe it.
Right, so this is a religious system that you've adopted then. This is just blind faith.
How is it religious to believe a planet is spherical?
Because you don't have any evidence for it, and no one has measured curvature of the Earth. That's why it's a blind faith.
So my telescope I'm looking through is a lie? I'm not seeing a circular moon or a circular Mars through my telescope?
And we're talking about the Earth. Did you look through your telescope at the Earth to see if it was round?
No, because we have a thing called satellites that disproves that.
Oh, there's no satellites. That's another faith-based religious, tenet.
Oh, so it's against the chat rules for that guy to say y'all are talking about the government, but you're allowed to say that about satellites, that it's a lie.
Dude, you're not even making any coherent sense. What chat guy? What are you talking about?
I banned the other dude for trying to say y'all are...
He mentioned physical violence. That's why he got banned. So as long as you don't mention physical violence against people or particular groups, we're not going to have a problem here. But I can go ahead and say and declare that there are no satellites, and if you think that there are, you'd have to prove their existence.
So that big metal object I saw floating in the sky with antennas on it and blinking lights is a lie through my telescope.
Okay, so how far away was that particular satellite that you think you saw?
Above me? Because it only passes by.
I didn't ask you the orientation. I asked you for the distance.
I can't measure the distance because I have no way of going up there.
Well, someone should be able to publish that for you, right?
I don't have a physical way of going up there, so how would I know the distance?
Right, so how do you know that you were looking at a satellite then?
Because I've seen a factory where they build satellites and I've seen one in person.
Great. How do you know it's not strapped to a balloon? Instead of falling around a ball Earth, it hasn't been measured.
There were no balloons connected to it.
Yeah, do you think they're going to have a balloon connected to it at the factory where you saw it? Where was this factory, by the way? What was this, telecommunications? What was this for? What kind of data was this thing collecting? Or what was it transmitting? I'm curious.
I don't know, one of the factories in Texas where they build satellites. And I'm pretty sure the satellite that I saw through my telescope didn't have a balloon on top of it because I would have saw it.
Was this at night?
No, it was during the day, clear skies at like 3 in the afternoon.
So you saw a satellite at 3 in the afternoon with blinking lights on it in the sky. And you don't even know what the angular size would be since you don't know the distance. So you don't even know if you were looking at a satellite. You just saw something in the sky.
I was looking at it through a telescope.
Who cares?
Telescopes make things in the distance seem clearer.
Yeah, I know, but the problem is that there's going to be an angular size problem no matter what it is, especially at the distance, because certain things, especially under 0.02 degrees angular size, won't be resolved by any optic.
You're telling me that if I don't measure the size myself, then it has no point. Basically, you're asking me to do something that's impossible for me to do.
That's not what I said, but it would be helpful for you to have the data. That way you'd know what you were looking at. You could actually do the calculations and see if it is what you thought it was. The distance and the angular size at that distance based on the size, the actual size of the satellite in question. Other than that, you're just affirming the consequent. You see something in the sky and you assume it's a satellite.
Well, I mean, it looked exactly like what I saw in the factory. Because
Great. Do you have any photos? It'd be helpful. Otherwise, this is just anecdotal and kind of hearsay. So do you have any photos of what you saw through your telescope?
Why would I take a photo of it when I was going to the event to see it?
That's a good point. You want to go to an event and not take, documentation of something that's very interesting. I would agree. And then come tell people about it and I'm supposed to believe you? No. First of all, you'd need gravity to make this possible. Number two, you'd need the Earth to be a ball for the satellite to orbit around. You don't have either one of those things. So whatever you saw wasn't a satellite falling around a ball.
Really?
Yeah, really.
The way you're explaining it, you're trying to make it out as if I just looked through my telescope and saw something fuzzy, when that is not what I saw at all.
That's
I saw a very...
Don't try to put words in my mouth. Don't try to insinuate. I didn't say any of those things.
Well, you keep saying over and over again that what I saw maybe wasn't a satellite, which hints towards it might have been fuzzy through my eyes.
Nope, that's what you're insinuating. I'm just saying, how do you know what you were seeing?
How do I know what I was... What kind of question is that?
Yeah, you saw something in the sky. Apparently your telescope is so good. By the way, what is the model of the telescope? I'd like to look up the specifications on it.
Oh my gosh. Alright, to humor you, I'm gonna go to my attic and I'm gonna go tell you exactly what this model is, okay?
Right. We're going to look up the specs. We're going to check out what kind of angular resolution it can resolve.
So wait, he saw a satellite during the day with a telescope?
That's what he says.
Okay.
Of all the things that happened, that didn't happen the most.
Right.
Yes. Because you can't see blinking lights during the day.
It's actually quite difficult, my friend.
Are you sure it wasn't a plane? I mean, to be fair, like seeing stuff in the sky during the day with a telescope, like especially a satellite, does sound pretty impossible, right? Even
Yeah.
Sure, you were awake.
At blinking lights, maybe it was an aircraft.
What's up?
So what's the model number?
So Celestron Travel Scope 70.
Celestron.
Has a 70 millimeter lens on it.
Yeah, that's far too small.
Good enough to see the moon and to see satellites and nothing past it.
Yeah, I can see the moon with my bare eye. Dude, what the hell?
Talking about the surface of the moon, not the moon itself.
Yeah, I see it with my bare eyes. Yeah, I see that surface.
Craters and stuff. Being able to see the little craters.
Yeah, I see those with my eyes. Yeah, I see that with my eyes.
Yeah, I see that with my 40 millimeter telephoto lens.
Yeah, like viewing satellites and planets and asteroids and stuff.
Bro, I got bad news for you. All those things that you think you're seeing, you ain't seeing.
Right.
There's no balls of gas in space or rocks in space. There's no space. No vacuum of outer space, no gravity. It's all bunk. It's all nonsense.
Right. So the people in other countries are lying.
Why would they? What would it matter? Everybody on Earth that believes this nonsense is believing a lie. How come you didn't ask people to verify all this stuff for you?
So the asteroid that blew up in Russia in 2013 and destroyed 5 miles to 10 miles worth of windows and all that, every single one of them people are lying. It didn't happen at all.
No, that's not what I said. I'm talking about the story behind what they are. A large, could have been a rock, could have been anything, but a rock from outer space, the vacuum of outer space? Nope, sorry. Total bunk.
Yeah, because seeing comets go through the atmosphere on fire, that's just one big lie.
Dude, comets aren't even on fire. You don't know your cosmology. You're so ignorant, it's not even funny. Those are supposed to be rocks and ice. Basically, yeah. Right. You know what a comet is? It's supposed to be ice and rock. breaking up as it travels through the solar system. It's not on fire. You don't even know your cosmology.
Well, if you were actually listening, I just said twice. I meant to say asteroid going into our atmosphere.
Yeah, that's a story. You don't have any evidence for it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. So you probably still believe in Santa Claus then, right?
You just can't debate with this type of person. I have to see it with my own two eyes to believe it.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Why don't you keep strawmanning me with that?
Because you're hinting towards it, but you won't actually come out and say it.
No, I'm not even hinting at it. I'm saying that these things are seen, but the story about them is unverified. In fact, most of it is impossible according to the laws of physics, but you wouldn't know that because you never asked anybody to prove to you the story they told you. It's like you believe in Santa Claus.
If you go based on facts, then how do you know laws of physics is real? Have you studied it yourself? Do you know
Now
for a
we're
fact
going
that
to get rid of the laws of physics. It's called experimentation. It's called deductive reason. It's called empiricism. Observable, testable, repeatable, and falsifiable. Okay, you show me an experiment with gravity as the independent variable.
You've done all of these experiments, and that has led you to believe them.
I will wait for you to provide for me an experiment with gravity as the independent variable.
So you believe all of these scientific studies you've read, even though you apparently go based on facts.
I'm waiting for the experiment.
It's already been proven.
Okay, give me the experiment with gravity as the independent variable.
I don't know, probably because you're on the Earth right now and not being blown 100,000 miles across the world.
Why would I be blown across the world? That doesn't make any sense. Why would that happen?
Because the Earth is rotating and we are spinning.
Okay, what's the evidence for that? That's all the story again. What's the evidence for that?
Satellites.
Satellites are the evidence for the world spinning? I'm sorry, you're going to have to do better than that because you don't have any evidence of satellites either.
Right. Because you're hinting towards I have to have personal evidence.
No, I didn't say I'll accept any kind of actual empirical evidence that you have. I don't even have, it doesn't have to be you. I want someone to have done this, but apparently nobody has. Because if you knew about them, you'd tell me about them. So who did it?
So if I throw something in the air, it's not going to come back down to me? Because we don't have gravity?
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it's gravity.
Because things go down, you think that has to do with gravity? What about all the things that go up? What happens to gravity then?
That thing comes back down unless it's being propulsed.
Like the helium balloon, or the air, or the gas, right? All those things that go up.
They are lighter than air. It's going to go up.
Yeah, but you said everything went down. Gravity pulls everything down, and yet we have gas going up.
Everything that is heavier than air.
Oh, so now gravity only works on stuff that is heavy. Do you realize that gas even has, apparently, a mass to it?
Helium is going to go up. It weighs lighter than air. Its mass is lighter than air, so it is going to go straight up.
Oh, so this only has to do with density and relative weight or mass, not necessarily anything to do with gravity. Thank you for debunking gravity for us.
When did I debunk it?
Because you just told me that things that are less dense than the things that are around them go up. So there's no mechanism of gravity required.
So if I put helium in a balloon and put it in my house, it's just going to stay on the ceiling forever. It's never going to dissipate. It's always going to stay on the ceiling as long as I don't touch it.
Why does it come down?
Because it
eventually. Yeah, so the helium actually escapes from the balloon and eventually it deflates and then it becomes too dense for the air around it and it goes downward. Right, so what you're describing to me is what we all observe, which is relative density, and that's why things go up and down, and that's what we observe. But we don't have any gravity in here anywhere.
If our atmosphere doesn't exist and gravity doesn't exist, Why haven't we died from a solar flare yet, or radiation?
That's a baseless claim. Friend, I don't need you to continue to repeat the fairy tales that you've been told. I just need you to verify any of the things that you're claiming.
I can't verify it myself. Scientists have done it.
Okay, who did it?
Scientists, NASA.
Are you appealing to people that you think have done something, but you're not sure if they actually have?
Basic common knowledge that we have gravity.
So the basic common knowledge is we have gravity. So gravity would be an independent variable in an experiment to determine whether or not it makes things go up or down. And yet you don't have any examples of that for me, and I've been looking for about 10 years, and I haven't found any. Nobody has. You want to know why? Because it doesn't exist. No one has performed this experiment. Gravity doesn't exist. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Oh my gosh, it's impossible right here, bro.
I know you're having a hard time. You don't have any evidence for the fairy tale that you believe. It's rough. I get it.
And you do? Because you've been to space, right? You've been to space and you've avoided taking the radiation?
Friend, I told you space is fake. It's just a fairy tale that you believe in.
How do you know it's fake? Have you been up there?
It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Do you know what that is?
And somebody wrote that law, and you believe it even though you haven't tested it yourself.
Do you know what the law is?
You're claiming me to have religious beliefs on what I've read, but you're saying believing your laws that somebody else has wrote.
Everybody experiences it. It's a description of even you. It's not. It's just a description of reality. This law that I'm talking about. It's not somebody wrote it down and then just declared it. No, it's what actually happens in reality. Do you understand the difference?
Right. Because it's something simple that you don't need science to prove.
No, there's no way to prove it scientifically. It's a law of nature. It happens always. I'll give you an example. The second law of thermodynamics, entropy, describes that high energy goes to low energy, high pressure goes to low pressure. Just like if you ever drink coffee, and then after a while, the coffee, when it's hot, eventually gets cold and equalizes with the ambient air temperature around it. That's entropy. That high energy, that heat, tries to equalize with the cooler air around it. Just like if you have a tire and you fill it up with gas, if you poke a hole in that tire, the high pressure will leak out, trying to equalize with the atmospheric pressure around it. That's called entropy. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Now, can you tell me why the high pressure gas isn't leaving the surface of Earth to equalize with the low pressure 10 to the negative 17 torr vacuum of space around it? Can you tell me why that is?
I wouldn't know because I don't have my face on a screen all day reading stuff.
So what you've told me is that I don't know because I'm ignorant and I choose to be. I don't study things. I don't educate myself. I don't ask people to prove things when they tell me a story about the cosmos.
Why would I study something I have no control over?
Why would you study? What don't you have control over? Your own mind?
What do you mean?
You can't educate yourself? You can't actually think critically about things?
Why would I care about something I can't control over if it doesn't affect me in any type of way?
This is your entire belief system. You went to an event and looked through a telescope, apparently at a satellite. It sounds like you're kind of a space geek, but you don't even know how it works.
Yeah, because I like to view asteroids, not study the diameter and how hot it gets when it enters the atmosphere and all that stuff. I view it as a pleasure to look at.
You like to see lights in the sky. Right, so you like to see lights in the sky. You realize those lights in the sky aren't rocks from the outer space vacuum colliding with the atmosphere of Earth. I just want to break it to you. That was a story you were told about those lights in the sky.
I'm also going to Greenland soon because I want to go see the polar lights. I want to go see the radiation in the atmosphere.
Yeah, who cares? So you understand that's still all part of a paradigm and a story that has not been verified to you. I mean, if you enjoy the lights, enjoy it all you want, but you may want to separate your enjoyment of the lights from the fairy tale.
Can you send me a study on flat Earth so I can read it?
What do you mean a study on flat Earth? You're on the Earth. Study it yourself.
Can you send me an article that talks about how the Earth is actually flat so I can study up on it?
Bro, you're on the Earth. You don't even need a study. It's measured to be flat by the people who make your maps, the people who navigate it, the people who build on it. Everybody measures the Earth to be flat.
So you're being a hypocrite. You're demanding I send you articles, but you're refusing to send me articles to prove the Earth is flat.
I can just write something on a piece of paper for you if that does it for you. But you can actually go out and measure the Earth yourself if you want to.
Right, but whenever I tell you to go measure space yourself, you tell me, no, that's not enough. You need to send me an actual article or something.
No, I didn't say that. In fact, you know what? If I could measure space, I'd be happy to do that. How would you suggest I do that? Reach an area that doesn't exist? An ever-expanding vacuum?
Use the years you spent studying Google articles and YouTube videos to get a degree and work for NASA. That way you can actually go up into space.
They don't send people with degrees to space because no one is actually going to space. You understand that, right? No one's going to space. No one's been in space. The space that you believe in does not exist.
Well, I mean, I guess all them rocket ship launches that happened in Texas and Florida that I've seen, they were all just a lie, right?
Yeah, I've seen them too. Guess what? I didn't see any rockets go to space.
So where are the rockets now, then?
Who knows? Who cares? They didn't go to space.
Well, you care. You care enough to know they didn't go to space, so tell me, where did they transport it to if you saw it go back to Earth?
How am I supposed to know where the rocket landed when I'm standing in the Cape?
Because you're so entwined with knowing that it didn't for sure go to space, so wouldn't you want to know where it ended up if it didn't go to space?
Well, I saw it took a parabolic arc and went out of range. Okay, I don't know where it landed. It's the same thing everybody sees. They go out of range.
And why did the rocket start curving? Because it's trying to propulse itself up and gravity's trying to pull it back down, so it's making it go at an angle?
What gravity?
Well, I don't know. The fact that the rocket ship's trying to propulse itself against Earth's gravity and atmosphere.
What gravity?
Are you going to send me an article on Flat Earth? Because you're demanding articles from me.
I didn't ask for an article. I asked for scientific validation of the claims that you're making.
Okay, then. You send me scientific validation of the claims you're making for Flat Earth.
No, it's not a scientific endeavor. It's geometry. See, this is how I know you have no clue what you're talking about. You don't know the difference between science and mathematics.
Okay, then. Send me a mathematical article that shows the Earth is flat.
How about this? I'll post something in the side.
And it has to be an actual mathematical article with pictures of the Earth, not drawings.
A mathematical article? What the hell is that?
Like an actual study, not just some Google image that you got.
How about an entire celestial navigation manual? Is that good enough for you?
What does that have to do with the Earth being flat?
Well, because they measure the Earth flat to navigate the Earth. That's the only way that the navigation actually works.
It's going to be flat in the palm of your hand because you're looking at it on your phone. Or
holy cow, dude! Holy cow! Does anybody else want to take this dude? Like, does anybody want to talk to this guy?
What do you think? What do you think? A map is going to show you? A map is going to show you direction.
I'm talking about. It's not a map I'm talking about. You're not even listening to me. It's an entire manual on celestial navigation.
And you just said that it shows the Earth as flat on the map in the manual. Of course, the map is going to be flat in the manual. It's
silly. They map the Earth flat, fella. So you're telling me they're not navigating the Earth as a sphere? Is that what you're telling me? Because that's what that they navigate the Earth as a.
You're not going to navigate the Earth as a sphere whenever you're writing it down on a piece of paper or something.
Dude, oh my gosh, you're not even grasping the concept at this point. Honestly, like, this is painful.
Like, what do
you think this is about pieces of paper?
What do you think whenever you go on Google? Whenever you go on Google and you go towards your local Planet Fitness, it's going to tell you, oh, you have to go 2 degrees up in order to get there.
Yeah, flat Earth.
You got to go 10 miles this way and 2 degrees angled up in order to get to your location.
Angled up? What the heck are you talking about?
Well, you said the map is flat.
No, they measure the Earth to be flat. They have to. Because the elevation angles to the stars require it. Linear distances across the plane to get from one place to another, your latitude and longitude grid. In fact, why don't you just study that? There's a mathematical study for you. Go ahead and figure out how latitude and longitude is derived.
They have to measure the Earth as flat on a map because it is a map, not a picture of the Earth.
Not on a map. On the Earth.
Well, you keep saying map.
Yeah, I'm telling you that they map it that way, but I'm also telling you that they navigate it without the map using celestial navigation as flat.
So the Big Dipper is always in the exact same spot every single night? It's never.
Holy cow, no, nobody said that. No one said that. Why do you keep doing that, dude? Like, every time I say something, you decide to create some kind of straw man or something that you even think I'm insinuating, which is not even close to what I said.
Just they navigate
through the space with some rats on the fucking machine, bro. What's going on? Why is there flies in space, bro? Oh my god, I'm flying through space.
If you're following the stars to get around the Earth,
I'm flying.
If the Earth was flat and you're following the stars to get around the Earth, then those stars would never move. Which means you're saying the Big Dipper would always be in the exact same spot.
Oh my gosh, like, this is painful. Do you understand that there's something called a celestial almanac? It actually follows the path of the celestials as they move throughout the year and gives their GPS as they move throughout the year. That's what navigators use.
And why do they move? Because the Earth is rotating.
Okay, so can you show me the measurement of the Earth rotation then?
My guy, you're asking for something that's impossible. Just say you need to see it with your own 2 eyes to believe it, because that's exactly what you're insinuating.
Actually, you know what? That's right. Why doesn't everybody on Earth see the Earth moving? That's a great question.
You keep insinuating it, but you refuse to sit here and say it.
No, I'm saying it right now. Why is it that nobody experiences that?
I don't know. Probably because most people don't get science degrees and work for astronaut corporations. like NASA.
What about the science degrees and the astronaut corporations? How come they don't see the Earth moving or can measure it?
Whenever they're inside the space station in our atmosphere, because
the space is fake. Remember, the space is fake. In fact, from this point forward, if you make a declaration about anything about your fairy tale, I'm going to require you to give me the empirical evidence of it first.
And you still haven't given me evidence that the Earth is flat. You just keep telling me.
Do you want the celestial navigation manual? Do you want the celestial navigation manual?
I don't want to know about stars. I want to know about Earth.
No,
I don't care about stars. I care about your claim that Earth is flat.
It's not about the stars. I'm talking about the Earth. They're navigating the Earth. So you just don't want to see the information. You want to keep your religious system, right?
No, anybody can look at a star and follow it on the Earth. I want to see proof that the Earth is flat, not that you have the knowledge to follow a star on a piece of land.
No, bro, it's the Earth that they're talking about. It's the Earth that they're measuring in those manuals. Do you want to see it or not? Or is it too upsetting for your fairy tale? Do you want to keep your religious system? Do you not want to see it?
You see, my guy, we're having a debate. You keep attacking me because you won't give me evidence, but you're demanding
it's not a debate. I'm offering to give you a manual, the thing that you asked for, and you don't want it.
You're right. It's not a debate because you're not giving me any evidence to prove your claim.
No, actually, you have yet to provide any evidence. I've asked you for several things. You've yet to give me anything, but I'm offering a celestial navigation manual. Pretty much the thing that you asked for.
I asked for proof that the Earth is flat, not a map of the stars.
Okay, no worries. Water is flat on its surface everywhere. 70% of the Earth's surface is supposedly water. So 70% of the Earth is a flat horizontal surface.
And that's a study made by scientists.
Yep.
Accredited scientists.
Yep, it's even in elementary school textbooks. No, why does anybody have to declare it? It's obvious. Do you think that it's true because somebody said so? Oh, so well, things are only true unless somebody that's in a science lab coat says it to you, right?
It says in those textbooks that because the water is flat, the Earth is flat.
No, it doesn't say that. It's just the nature of water. It's obvious.
Hey, you're getting dog walks said who? You sound stupid.
Oh, somebody else that's triggered. Who's our new triggered friend?
Like, I just want proof that
is that Booger Smoker?
You told me to go look at an elementary school textbook. Nowhere in that textbook does it say the Earth is flat.
Does it have to?
So it's wrong for me to insinuate something, but you're insinuating that because water's flat, the Earth must be flat.
No, you see, you're insinuating something that you actually can't even give me an example of, like curvature of the Earth. I'm giving you flat water. You're giving me nothing.
I asked the guy in the chat multiple times to explain eclipses and why a boat shrinks from the bottom going up instead of shrinking altogether to a singular point. Still haven't got evidence of that.
Oh, okay. So what would that prove, by the way? Do you think that the horizon is Earth curve? You think the horizon is Earth curve?
If the Earth was flat, wouldn't a ship slowly shrink to a singular point, not shrink from the bottom going up?
No. Sometimes they do.
Right.
Sometimes there's no bottom obstruction. Sometimes there is.
Based on the example he sent me, if you look down a long corridor, it eventually goes to a singular point in your vision. So why doesn't a ship or a continent do the exact same thing?
I just told you. Sometimes they do.
But they don't.
Oh, okay. So you have this knowledge from
tugboats. I've worked offshore. A boat definitely does not go to a singular point.
Dude, do you think that you're the only person that's ever been to the ocean? We have multiple observations of sometimes the boat gets obstructed bottom up, sometimes it just disappears into the distance. The angular size is too small to resolve.
Right.
You gotta be kidding me.
Right.
Right.
Because
so you agree?
Because ships don't navigate based on the curvature of the ocean and the earth and stuff like that.
Hell no.
They don't, unless you can show me that they do. Because I have evidence to the contrary. Remember that celestial navigation manual I want to send you that you don't want to look at?
You still haven't sent it to me. I never told you not to send it to me.
Do you want it? Okay, no problem.
If it has anything to do with stars, though, I'm not going to fucking read it because that doesn't prove Earth is flat. I'm going to skim through it and see if it says anything about stars, like the Big Dipper and Jupiter's.
So even though you don't even understand the concept, you now have given away your entire argument appealing to the heavens, anything in the sky having to do with the Earth. So why don't you give me the globe Earth curvature measurements in reality, since we're not going to use the stars anymore? Because I don't want to hear any more about stars. I don't care about the stars anymore.
But you keep trying to send me something that's about stars.
No, I won't send you that anymore. I'll just show you that we build on the Earth as a level horizontal surface. That 70% of the Earth's surface being water is flat and level. I'll give you all those things. All I need from you is Earth curvature measurements that I can verify.
If the Earth is flat, then why do tsunamis exist?
Holy cow. What the hell? What do you think a tsunami is? This is going to be great. What do you think a tsunami is?
It's Earth curvature.
A tsunami is from the tectonic plates moving against each other, and it creates ripples in the water.
Yeah, so an earthquake. What does that have to do with flat Earth?
Wait, tectonic plate? Plates?
And you know why those plates move against each other? Because they're curved and they're not flush together.
Wait, plates like
flat? Yeah, that's a story. I just need the curvature measurement of those curved plates now that you're talking about. So all I want from you from this point forward is measurements of curvature.
That's all you're saying is see it to believe it. That's all you're saying. That's all you keep repeating, but you refuse to say the word.
You're right. That's what I want. I want to see the Earth curved, and then I want it to be measured curved. I don't think that's actually too much to ask for. You're asking incredulity, like, oh, all you want to do is have evidence for the stupid crap. Oh, see,
if you're not,
if you can know that he's going to unless he unmutes me.
Like, come on, bro. It's like a child.
How can you prove you have a brain if you've never seen it?
Somebody want to let him know that if he doesn't unmute me, he's going to get banned.
How can you prove that you have a brain if you've never seen your brain?
That's not Earth curvature, bro.
The brain's material. Everybody has a brain. Give me a break. My nervous system works. I have a nervous system.
How do you know you have a nervous system? Have you seen it? Is it tangible?
Oh my gosh, one of these sophists. All right.
You're saying brains don't exist? You're trolling.
That's crazy.
Wait, so what's the other guy's name?
R.
R, you gotta unmute the mods, bro. I just want to throw in, like, anytime you say if the Earth is flat, things would be different, that you're automatically off track because flat earthers are the way they are because of the way the Earth is currently. Not the way you say it should be. The Earth is as it is currently, right now. It's not going to change. That's why the flat earthers are that way, because of the way the Earth is right now. So when you say, well, if it was flat, things should be different, or it should be like this, or it would be like that, you're already way off when you do that. You're basically building a straw man, right, Swanger? Oh, you're just hot micing, bro. Swanger hot mic. Swanger hot mic. I think that's where Globers fail the most, is when they're like, if it was flat, blah, bitty, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're not actually
it's like a contradiction. They'll say, if it's flat, and then show you something where it's not flat. Would that be if it's curved then? Not if it's flat. So it'd be like, if it's flat, then Taco Tuesday is Wednesday.
Right.
So then Taco Tuesday was on Tuesday, and like, see, it's a globe. Well, why not just stay from the beginning? If it's a globe, Taco Tuesday's on Tuesday. Why do you gotta go if it's flat and then show if globe instead? Like, stand up in all 10 toes. You'll be a man about what you're talking about. If it's a globe, then this. If it's flat, then this. Want to be like, they're kind of scared to make a stand because they've probably been slapped around the internet, like lots of different topics. They've been just like drug through the mud. Like,
what are you talking about? You're the one that makes no claims.
Yeah, the Earth is observable.
You're very careful not to take a stand on anything, so you can try to hide behind the fact that you make no claims and have no model.
Hear this: the Earth.
It's easy to just be a skeptic.
You're not paying attention. Here's my claim: the Earth is observably flat and stationary. The Earth.
It's not a claim. Just because something is observable doesn't mean it's like anything at all.
The surface of the Earth. The surface is flat. The motion, I claim.
Okay, so you're exactly. So you're claiming that. Okay, so now that's your only claim that the Earth is stationary.
These guys don't do this. You tell me I don't do something, then as I'm demonstrating, you're wrong. You're wrong. Not only are you wrong, you haven't been paying attention at all to begin with. Your if is based on something that is already wrong. And even better,
no, you had to clarify.
You're not paying attention again. You're Twonger, listen. Then you said, look at you guys. You guys never make a claim. Then you go on to never make a claim. So now you've got two things here. Number one, you weren't listening, you weren't paying attention. Then you assigned an attribute to flat Earth, then did that yourself. Internally, you are the flat earther you're looking for.
It's Booger Smoker you're talking to, by the way.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was tabbed out. Someone said Twonger earlier.
Yeah, no, you had to clarify your position. You said it's observably flat, and now you're changing it and you're saying it's flat. So, okay, that's your only claim, that the Earth is stationary and flat, right?
No, it's observably stationary and flat. It's measurably stationary and flat. It's practically used as stationary and flat. And there's more. There's more after that. That's just the baseline.
You can't say something is practically used as something when you just claim that every other field of research and science that exists that takes into account Earth's curve, you just claim it's fake.
Do that.
Which is like, that's so silly to just be like, it is this because anything you bring to me that says otherwise, I'm just going to declare it's fake.
It doesn't do that. You're bull scathing now. Then also,
no, that's literally what you guys do to the whole entire field of like going rocket science and space, and everything like that. Yeah, you just claim it doesn't exist.
Yeah, rocket science uses the Earth as flat and stationary also.
Okay,
in terms of the rocket,
gotcha.
The rocket
you claim things, but
the rocket, like a satellite, from a satellite's point of view, the Earth is both flat and stationary. From the IS, if you look from the ISS. The Earth is stationary. You're moving. Like you would have to say from the ISS point of view, that's rocket science, that you're not moving, the Earth is. You already fucked up. Practical demonstration from the ISS itself. You are moving. The Earth is stationary and flat. And I can also dive into the globe model and be like, hey, what does a globe claim? Like a giant leap forward for all humanity. That astronauts are the cream of the crop. They've got things baked into their model that you can demonstrate are false and then ask why. Why is it like this? Why did it happen that way?
I already said earlier, you can't debate against somebody who has to see something to believe it, because the only evidence they could show is what they can see. Therefore, anything that's not out of what they can see, they define as uncredible, even though millions of people support it.
That's not what's happening. And also, if we were to present to you that there's a container, the Earth must be contained, I guarantee you're going to want to see it. every single time we bring up, hey, Earth is contained, there's a container, like, yeah, but where is it? I want to see.
I mean, that's just being
Can I touch
consistent because
it?
you guys ask for empirical evidence constantly, and then here you are using secondary, trying to prove, like using gas containment laws as proof of something you have no evidence of. It's just like secondary. You guys constantly ask for direct evidence, but then you can't provide any direct evidence for your claims. It's just like this double standard that gets enforced in here.
Wait,
friend, the direct evidence is the actual gas pressure. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, that is the direct
That's secondary. That's secondary, and you guys demand primary direct measurements for any claims of Earth curvature. You claim and you require that from us. You say that's necessary for any of our claims. We ask for it from you, and you guys are like, "Why do we need direct evidence?" It's so retarded how it only goes one way.
Let me just respond to this.
Gas pressure is primary.
Let me respond to this.
Go for it.
It's no different, dude. If like, you probably don't know what an antecedent relationship is. So if I already know that you have
Quit with the meta, buddy, and don't presume what I know.
It's not meta, Booger. It's not meta. I know you have parents. Like, based off of your existence, I know you have parents, right? So you're like, but where's the direct evidence of my mom? It's like, I don't need direct evidence necessarily. You are the evidence. The fact that you're here means you have a mom, you have a dad, period. So it's like, yeah, but I need to know exactly the details of my mom and dad. You don't. Because you're here. Do you understand the difference? You understand what I'm saying here?
No, that's actually just you having a low burden of proof and requiring low evidence for that one example. Just like you have a high, just like you have the most.
No, Booger. Respond to what I'm saying, though, dude. Is it okay that I can say that I know you have parents based off of your existence? Is that fair or not fair?
No, that's just you being presumptuous. Of course.
Wait a minute.
So you can. So let me ask you a question. No, because you keep talking and yapping over and over. I'm going to respond to what you have to say. So just be quiet for a moment, and I'll respond. The point of the matter is that like right now you can take biological material and you can clone it. You can do all sorts of things.
Nah, bro. We're not presuming. We're not presuming anything. Are you a clone? Come on, dude. This is how Glovers always argue. This is flat earthers can't be right syndrome to a max. Yeah, but I could be a clone. You guys are clowns.
But the only explanations you've given, the only explanation you keep giving to him is stuff that has to do with not flat Earth.
No, dude. It's an antecedent relationship. How about this, R? We'll put the spotlight on you. Can you accept?
What does parents have to do with a flat Earth?
Hold on. Can you accept that I know for a fact you have parents based off of your existence? You're here right now. So is that fair enough for me to say that I know for a fact?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with why the Earth is flat.
Great. Well, why? Because your existence relies on their existence, correct? I don't necessarily need like your mom's name or your dad's name or their job titles or what they look like or anything like that. I know for a fact that they exist because you exist. That is an example of an antecedent relationship. So this is the same relationship when it comes to the gas pressure in the container. It's not a presumption. It's not an inference. It's not anything like that. We know for a fact that there's a container, just like your parents, because of the existence of gas pressure, like your existence. It's no different.
Is this container connected to the Earth, or is it just floating around the Earth then?
Again, these extra details, like, is your mom in Florida or is she floating around in the streets? Like, it doesn't matter what your mom's doing. We know for a fact that there's a container because of the
existence. I just asked if this container was connected to the Earth or floating around.
Now you want to know details about the container, which is like as irrelevant as knowing details about your mom. It's end of story. The existence of gas pressure means the existence of container. The existence of you means the existence of your parents. Period. I don't need to know any details. Is your mom floating in the streets or is she like at home?
Right.
Doesn't matter.
So I need details that it's round, but whenever it comes to you giving details that it's flat, oh, you don't need that at all.
It's not the same. We just taught you what an antecedent relationship is. So anytime someone's like, "Yeah, but like, tell me more things about the container," we don't have to.
If the Earth is flat and I walk to the edge of it, am I just walking into an infinity void and just going right back to where I started?
I don't know how you walk on water, but that was.
If I travel across the Earth on boat, plane, or whatever,
This isn't. We don't live in GTA,
I'm just going to go through an infinite void and just be right back where I started.
This idea that you can freely roam the earth like that anyway, that's GTA. That's not reality.
Right.
If I just freely roam around,
if I take an airplane,
travel infinitely. I mean, do you have infinite?
If I take an airplane from the U.S., if I take an airplane from the U.S. to China, go in that straight line, end up in China, take another plane from China to the U.S. and head the opposite direction and not back the way I came.
This isn't GTA, bro. How many times do I have to tell you? You don't just get to travel the way you want to.
You keep going away from it. You're not answering it.
What you want to do is take hypotheticals and then cash it in as reality. That's like me writing a check for $1 gajillion.
Because you have to believe it to see it, and you have to do it to believe it.
No, I've never said that. I'm just saying, like, you're using hypotheticals, bro. If I just travel however I want, then I'll prove things. No, dude. That's not how it works in reality.
You're still not explaining what would happen if I go to completely around in a circle.
Yeah, you go in a circle.
Because the Earth is round, not flat, right?
No, wait a minute. You can, if you're in a room, right? You can go in a circle around your room, dude. Like,
if I walk all the way past, if I walk all the way past China, I'm not going to end back up in the U.S.
Oh, bro. Again, you're not Superman or like the Flash, or you can walk on water.
You see what I mean? You're avoiding it. You're bringing up topics that have nothing to do with
it. Your hypothetical, if I can walk around the entirety of the Earth, then I'm.
You're bringing up stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with it, and you're refusing to answer it because you don't want to answer.
Why are you not listening? What is he not answering that you think he's not answering?
I just said, if I fly past China, am I going to end up back where I was? And if so, I want to know exactly how. Being that it's flat.
Around being flat. Period. We already said this.
You said it. So I'm going to go underneath the Earth. That's what you're saying.
No.
Oh my gosh, dude, you're too dumb for this conversation. I promise. You're way too stupid.
No. I'm saying, right, if you would quit talking over me and just let me explain it.
You're not explaining anything. You're low IQ.
All right, well, I'm just...
Yeah, peace out. You can go in a circle around something flat. Simple as that. You're going in one direction, east or west. No one's going north or south, by the way. You're going east or west in a circle around a globe, if that's the case. On a flat Earth, you're also going in a circle. So, like, you're not really saying anything, bro. It's no different than I go out my front door, I go around the back, and around to the front, back to the front door. You just went in a big circle. If you have your room, for example, if you could imagine that your room is the entirety of reality, this is everything, just your room and nothing else. In the middle, you have like a northern point that could be your North Pole. If you just go in a circle around the pole, you're going east or west around that pole, and you've gone from your starting point right back to where you started, going in one direction. It's not a straight line. You got to erase that from your memory. Even if the Earth is a globe, you're not going in a straight line. You're going in a circle. Go ahead and respond. These hypotheticals, like, well, if I walk around the whole Earth, then I'll prove it's a globe. You ain't walking around the whole Earth and you ain't proving it's a globe, bro. Well, if I just get in a plane and travel like GTA, just go wherever I want, however I want. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Just be able, if anything you got from this conversation, be able to say if the Earth is a globe, and then come up with something that you would expect to see if it's a globe.
Also, you reject gravity in order to believe any of the shit you guys found.
Dude, you just can't even contain yourself. If the Earth is not a flat, that doesn't get you to okay. The Earth is not X, Y, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all of it. Okay, it's none of these things. You have not gotten one step closer to what it is. What it is. That's the main key here. You think you know what it is, but you refuse to say so. You'll only say what it's not. And this is showcasing that you've got some problems. Number one, you're scared.
What are you talking about? You're literally projecting. You guys literally have no model. You have no idea what the Earth is, what its limits are. You have no idea how it moves through the cosmos. You have no idea about the firmament or containment. You have no idea about any of this stuff. Why there's tides, why there's seasons, why any of the stars move. You have no conception of any of that shit. And you want to sit here and say we don't have answers for anything. You're insane. You're retarded.
All those answers.
Okay, so then what is the firmament made of, and where is it?
Copernicus said it's made of glass. Okay, I would say I don't know what it's made of, but
so exactly, you don't know. That's what I'm saying. You have no answers for any of this shit.
Yeah, I just told you. I know it's there. I know it's made of glass. You accept it was made of glass by Copernicus. You accept.
When did I say I accept the firmament? You're insane.
Okay,
I've never said that.
Who invented the heliocentric model for you then? If it wasn't Copernicus.
What? I don't know who invented the first person to come up with the concept. It's not about don't know. There is no firmament. It doesn't exist. It's your little fantasy.
That's not firmament. Is in the globe worldview. That's nothing to do with flat Earth.
There is no firmament. There is no container with which the Earth is contained. There is nothing like that.
Your container would be gravity, the force of gravity.
Gravity is not a container, buddy.
That's how you would
crazy.
The gas.
Gravity is not a container. You're insane.
Facts. Yeah, facts.
You don't understand what any of this shit is. So gravity is not a container.
Yeah, what contains the air on the Earth?
What contains it? It's not. It's not being contained like like being put inside of a box or inside of a fucking Ziploc bag. Right? It's not. Here. There is a, you could call it a force, or you could call it a perturbation of space-time that acts upon matter that causes matter to behave in a certain type of way. That has nothing to do with being inside of something. Huh?
So the air is here, right?
Where's here? What are you talking about?
If I like go into outer space, I'm not able to breathe, right? Because the air is here on the Earth, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so what is what's keeping the air here?
Gravity.
Not there. You said gravity's not the container, so what's containing?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you define a container? How do you define a container? Because obviously, if you're just
hold on. So one more time, the air is here, and what's keeping the air here?
Gravity.
Guys, why is that funny?
Okay, let me hear what you. Let me. Hold on. I'm talking to that guy. Crit. Before you say anything, I'll respond to you in a second. I need to ask him some follow-up questions. How do you define a container? Is a container any force? So, like, for example, if you're in a room and
Earth.
There is no firmament. There is no container with which the Earth is contained. There is nothing like that.
Your container would be gravity, the force of gravity pulling things.
Gravity is not a container, buddy.
That's how you would crazy. The gas.
Gravity is not a container. You're insane.
Facts. Yeah, facts.
You don't understand what any of this shit is.
So what gravity? Because the air is here on the Earth, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so what is what's keeping the air here?
Gravity.
Not there. You said gravity's not the container, so what's containing?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you define a container? How do you define a container? Because obviously, if you're gravity is not a container.
Yeah, what contains the air on the Earth?
What contains it? It's not. It's not being contained like like being put inside of a box or inside of a fucking Ziploc bag.
Right?
It's not. There is a, you could call it a force, or you could call it a perturbation of space-time that acts upon matter that causes matter to behave in a certain type of way. That has nothing to do with being inside of something. Huh?
So the air
like being put inside of a box or inside of a fucking Ziploc bag.
Right?
It's not. There is not a container. You're insane. There is nothing like that.
Your container would be gravity, the force of gravity pulling things.
Gravity is not a container, buddy.
That's how you would
crazy.
The gas.
Gravity is not a container.
If I like go into outer space, I'm not able to breathe, right? Because the air is here on the Earth, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so what is like what's keeping the air here and
Gravity.
not there? You said gravity's not the container, so what's containing the
Okay,
air?
so let me ask you a question. How do you define a container? How do you define a container? Because obviously, if you're just
hold on. So one more time, the air is here, and what's keeping the air here?
Gravity.
Guys,
Why is
somebody
that
clip
funny?
that.
Okay, let me hear what you let me hold on. I'm talking to that guy. I'm talking to that guy, Crip. Before you say anything, I'll respond to you in a second. I need to ask him some follow-up questions. How do you define a container? Is a container any force? So, like for example, if you're in a room and there's a guard at the room, and you go to step out of the room, and the guard pushes you, he puts a force on you, and he keeps you in that room, would you say, hey, this person is inside of a container? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's a difference between something being contained and something being within a container. And you want to play these weird little word semantics games and not define your terms. Fine. If you say for you personally, being in a container is just force acting on something to keep it within a certain bounds, then that's fine. But the way I define a container is there needs to be an actual physical boundary, a physical material boundary that is containing the thing. Like, for example, let me ask you a question. Can you make a vacuum without there being a container?
No, you need a container for that too, by the way.
Exactly, but you don't. But your definition of
All right, so we definitely agree that there needs to be a physical barrier. Earlier he said gravity is not containing the gas, then he said gravity is containing the gas. Now he agrees that containers are a physical barrier. We're all on the same page, Booger Smoker. Welcome to Flat Earth. Welcome to containers.
Facts. But
that's you guys are playing semantics, called semantical games.
Words and their meanings. The meanings of words is very important. I agree.
Yeah, and you change the meaning of words to fit whatever you're trying to say at the moment. That's what playing semantics.
We're using your definition, a physical barrier to contain the gas. That's your definition, unless you don't want that one now. Is that not the one that you want?
A physical container around the Earth. It's gravity, which would be something similar to.
Great. Okay, so a physical container. Now he says gravity is physical. I want a sample of the gravity. And if you don't have a sample of it, you're going to stay on mute and we'll keep talking to R.
Physical, show me a sample of it, stupid. You are a retard.
So there we go. The physical container that's gravity. I want a sample of the gravity because apparently the gravity is everywhere. So it's not hard to get. Is the gravity not everywhere? Is it in the room with you right now?
Let me get a sample of the firmament, and I'll bring you a sample of gravity. How about that?
That is what you're talking about. That is the gravity. You in a heliocentric model, they call gravity the firmament.
What? Nobody calls it the firmament, buddy. You're insane. There is no physical container or something like that. Like, well, I don't know what fantasy world you live in. There is no where around the Earth.
Dude, you're spiraling. You saying that is like saying you don't have parents. We've already covered this. We know for a fact there's a container, just like we know for a fact you have parents. It's over.
That's the stupidest fucking argument. It has nothing to do with this. Then you should be able to show me.
No, we don't have to show you anything about your mom, though.
How does your antecedent? Hold on.
No, we already covered this. We don't need any extra details. We know for a fact you have a mom. We know for a fact you have a dad. I don't need to know their names, their hair color, what they look like, anything. We know for a fact they exist.
That's a logical fallacy.
It's not. It's not. It's called an antecedent relationship. Can you argue that? I mean, can you argue that you don't have parents? Are? And then you can't just say logical fallacy as well. Like you've got to actually detail what the fallacy is.
As a squad, I think I was looking.
Are you there, buddy? Am I cutting out?
No, I hear you. Maybe I did earlier. I think that guy who just squawked logical fallacy, that was just a squawk. It was just making a word noise.
Nice.
Yeah, so like Booger, you've got multiple problems here because you're not understanding your own model to say that it is being contained. One of the things that like heliocentric will say is that the moon itself acts as a container. Gravity acts as a container. The amount of gas that escapes through the container of gravity is then caught by the moon and deflected back to the Earth. See, you don't know this shit, and there's no way for you to prove it. If like I just told you that, you'd be like, "Oh, that can't be right." Just Google it. This well of gravity that has trapped all the gas inside the bending and warping of space and time. Then some of it bounces out and gets stuck in the well of the moon. Then when it bounces out, it goes back to the Earth. It's like playing ping pong. And even then, some of it does escape, but it's producing more gas and that's escaping. These would tell you that back in the days of yore, like days of dinosaurs, the atmosphere was thicker. That's why things were so big. They got these weird explanations that don't match reality. They don't match. They're like, well, how much thicker was the atmosphere back then? Because we got like supposedly chickens and that Komodo dragons. It's like that much decreased in its thickness that you'd have like 4-story dinosaurs, and now the atmosphere is so thin that now they're like chickens instead, or they're like Komodo dragon size. The little lizards, like a sheep. These little tiny lizards running around. They used to be dinosaurs, but they grow bigger if there's more gas in the contained. See, your story's a hot mess, and that explains why you'll never make a claim to it. You won't say if globe, then this. It's always a not that. Not flat, therefore globe. For some reason, you'll never explain or take questions on. It's like playing that game 20 questions, where instead of trying to figure out what it is, you try to figure out what it's not. And someone says, okay, hey, go ahead. It's an ostrich. No, you win. See, your worldview is based on weaponizing your own ignorance. You want to play dumb, and you've played dumb for so long, you have no clue how to do anything other than act like a complete ass clown.
Booger left. But are you still here, bud?
Oh yeah, I'm most certainly still here.
Wait, so, dude, just want to cover this whole, like, what you're saying. We're dodging your question, bro. Not dodging your question. You're asking about what if I go in a straight line? I'm arguing that, first of all, you can't go in a straight line. Via what method of travel do you think you can go straight?
Just, bruh.
Oh, you're dodging.
If a plane has to turn, it has to lean.
Well,
like I told you multiple.
From what I've learned, that flying in planes, they fly in corridors similar to roads, where like if you get in a car, you can't just drive straight because you have to follow the path that's been laid out for you. So that's why I keep saying it's not like GTA, because in Grand Theft Auto, you can just fly wherever you want. There's no like rules or anything like that. You just roam wherever. But in reality, there's like control towers where they're guiding you. There's like certain altitude you need to fly at. You can't just get in a plane of your own and then just go wherever. Guys, sorry guys, I need to clear the ways, part the seas. I'm Moses. I'm gonna fly. I gotta do something very important. So I'm gonna fly straight. All you guys need to watch the fuck out. It doesn't.
Here's a better example. If I fly from Florida to China,
Bro,
I get off,
dude.
I enjoy my trip, then I fly from China to California. Are you telling me I'm not allowed to cross the ocean between
No
China and
one's
the
saying
United
that. No
States?
one's saying that. But your idea that like, well, I'm going straight, therefore it can't be flat or something like this. You're not actually going in a straight line. And then in your second example, you're just going from point A to point B, from point B to point C. I don't see how that is like debunking any idea of a
Because the
flat earth.
plane does not lean. If you're going in a circle, it would be leaning.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And then you're bringing in stupid comparisons like Grand Theft
Wait.
Auto and
Hold on.
Superman to
Hold on.
try to
Hold on.
justify it.
Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. If you're saying it's going in a circle, it must be leaning. Cool. If you're on a globe and you're going around the globe in a circle, is it leaning?
Really, because you could travel from New York to the United
Hold
Kingdom
on.
and
One more
it's a
time.
straight line. It
No, no,
doesn't
no, no, no,
lean
no,
the
no, no,
whole way
no.
there.
One more time. One more time. One more time. One more time. If you're on a globe and you're going around the globe back to where you started, you went in a circle.
If I start from where I'm at right now and I go completely around the globe,
Back to where you
back to
started.
where I am, with
You went
no
in a circle.
restrictions to airspace, I could just fly over everything
That's,
with no restrictions.
yeah, that's a circle.
I will not lean at all. It will be a
Okay.
straight line.
Wait. That's not. Oh my god, this guy's retarded, Chad. He's so dumb. Do I have to draw it for you? Like, let me draw it for you. Can you not understand that if you're
What are
on
you
a
thinking
globe?
of Earth as? A flat circle? Is that what you're
No,
thinking of it
no,
as?
no, dude. I'm gonna draw it for you. You're so retarded, you can't understand this. You have a ball, and you're in a plane, and you're going around the ball back to where you started. You went in a fucking circle. How many times do we have to say this before it clicks? I'll post it in the chat. Here, take a look.
Yeah, if you view it from outer space, you're going in a circle around the globe.
Yeah, no shit.
But you're
not
being
going
pushed
in a
down
straight
by
line.
gravity, so it's going to feel like you're going in a straight line.
No, you're not going in a straight line, period.
So I could
If you
physically feel myself leaning downward as I'm going around the Earth.
You just said you're not
That's
leaning.
what you're saying.
You said in reality you wouldn't be leaning.
You just said I would be going in a circle around the Earth. So technically I would be going under the Earth. So you're telling me I'm going to feel myself
What are you talking
physically
about, bro?
leaning.
He's retarded, bro.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, the same kind of restrictions you told him, because he's talking about a flat Earth, right? But you said you'd be going around in a circle, and that means the plane would be banking one way or the other. Well, if that was true, if you use the same idea but only think about the Earth being a sphere, then that means the plane would have to be dipping down in order to compensate for the curvature. If what you're saying is true. Yeah, if what you're saying is true, if what you're saying is true about the plane banking right or left, it being on a flat plane, and you're saying no, it's on a sphere, well then that means the plane would have to be compensating for that curvature, according to you.
Yep. And I just asked him.
Is it doing
if you're
that?
going, I just
Is it
asked
doing
him
that?
if you would even let me answer, because
No, I'm
y'all seem
asking,
to
is the
think
plane doing
talking
that, dude?
over people
Obviously,
makes you right.
yeah, no, obviously you have this idea that the plane would be doing something by necessity.
All right,
So
so
is
I'm going to
it
explain
doing
this
that?
again.
Is it doing that thing?
If you're going around the sphere, and if you're going around the sphere, you're going to be going under the sphere because you're going around it. And the reason it feels like you're going in a straight line is because of gravity. Because if there was no gravity, once you go around the sphere, you would basically fall out of your seat once you're at the bottom
you're
of the
talking
sphere.
about but you're talking about you don't feel
But
the
he just
plane
wants to
going.
keep
Yeah,
talking
you're
over
just
people
making an
because
argument for
talking over
our
people
dude.
makes
You're
you
just making an
right,
argument for our
apparently.
case. You're just making an argument for us. You're saying you don't feel that curve when you're on a plane. Well, because you're on a horizontal plane. You're flying over a horizontal plane, so you don't feel it because it's not there. That's why.
I mean, he already proved me right. He said if you fly in a straight line earlier, you would just go in outer space.
But you kept saying it is a straight line, but you're not actually going in a straight line.
Yeah, you're going in a circle.
Dumbass.
Really? Because
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't feel.
Yeah, think
I
about
don't
it,
feel.
man.
I don't.
Look, if you do this, man,
I guess I'm
draw
gonna
a
have to do
ball,
it again
draw a
so I can
ball on a
talk.
piece of paper. Draw a ball on
Really,
a
because
piece of
if I'm
paper.
going in a straight line, if I'm not going in a straight line, wouldn't I feel myself moving? If I'm not going in a straight
Well,
line,
this is
wouldn't
the
I feel
problem that the globe
myself
has,
leaning?
dude. Why are you making it sound like it's a problem for us? It's a problem for you.
No, I wouldn't because of gravity.
Well, then, because you don't feel the curve of the Earth, that means that how can you tell it exists? So your plane example doesn't work for the idea that the Earth is a globe because you can't tell if it's a globe on a plane. You just finished saying, I can't tell. It feels like I'm going in a straight line. Well, yeah, no duh. So you can't tell that you're on a plane going around a
I'm
globe.
just now hearing what you're saying because I had to mute you so I can answer his question because that's all you like to do is talk over people.
Hey, R, I want you to know this from this point forward. If you mute somebody, I will ban your ass because that's the second time. Just so you know.
Why? Creation asked me a question.
It's audio chaos in here when people mute the mods or anybody else, and we're not going to have that. That's the rule. You don't like it, kick rocks.
Yeah, okay, R, listen.
You see what I mean, bro? I'm sitting here trying to answer you, and he's talking over me.
You've got to be quiet when there's a break of the pre-bait.
Because that's the second time. Just so you know.
Why? Creation asked me a question.
It's audio chaos in here when people mute the mods or anybody else, and we're not going to have that. That's the rule. You don't like it, kick rocks.
Yeah, okay, R, listen.
You see what I mean, bro? I'm sitting here trying to answer you, and he's talking over me.
You've got to be quiet when there's a break of the rules. You can turn people down. You can turn people down. You can't mute them. If you create audio, chaos, you will be shown the door. Do you realize this?
Yes or no? Just asked me. He just made a statement towards me, and I can't even respond to him because you just want to talk over me.
No, I'm letting you know that you will not be allowed in here if you're going to create audio chaos.
How is it audio chaos? Because creation asked me a question, and I'm sitting here trying to answer it, and that's all AD's doing is nonstop rambling over me.
It's the same question. He's repeated the same question about 3 times, and I'm doing it the 4th.
And he can't hear me answer because that's all you do is talk over me when I'm trying to answer him.
You've been responding to him. It's just you're not understanding the thing that we're saying. I told you, draw a circle on a piece of paper, and then you could see that when you make a ball on a piece of paper, it's a 2D circle. That's all I was going to tell you. So you can't say that a plane that's going over the Earth that's a globe is not going over a curve. It's not a straight line. It's a curved line.
Yeah, and if you're going around a curved line, you're going to be feeling yourself moving if there is no gravity. But you don't feel yourself moving because there is gravity.
Dude, that doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense.
So you're telling me if you're going 2,000 miles per hour in the air, like an airplane does, if you're going at a down slope at that speed, you're not going to feel like you're being pushed against your seat.
Hold on, wait. Where are you getting your facts? Where are you getting your facts? Is a plane going 2,000 miles per hour?
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah, let's get some facts straight, dude. Like, what plane's going that fast?
GTA, bro. He's in GTA.
Dude, what facts are you, like, where are you coming from, dude? Like, do you know reality? Like, planes don't fly that fast?
Yeah, because jets don't exist now.
Okay, so what are you just pointing to one that flies 2,000 miles per hour?
Commercial airliners don't go over 1,000 miles per hour. They're the slowest ways of transportation in the world.
Okay, so are you speaking of a specific example like a jet?
Oh.
You need to get your facts straight, bro. Like, I mean, if you're gonna drop facts, drop facts. Don't just mess up reality, man.
You can't debate with somebody that only believes what is in their mind.
Okay, dude. We're not talking about debate. We're talking about how you're getting your facts put across to us. Are they facts?
What plane is flying
2,000 miles per hour, bro?
There's no way for me to give you my facts because there's no way for me to personally prove those facts.
Okay, so you can't prove a plane that flies at 2,000 miles per hour.
I was trying to continue explaining, but you constantly want to keep talking over me.
I hate
and
when people. You Globers always do this shit, dude. You Globers always do this shit. I was trying to explain.
You constantly bitch
dude,
and
you're not
complain
talking about facts. You're not talking about facts.
You say you're going to fucking ban me if I mute you, but I can't get a fucking word in without muting you.
Try to mute me, dude. See what happens.
That's my problem.
Quickly.
You sit there and badger on a fucking question, but you refuse to let the person answer the question.
Because you need to get the facts straight.
Not answering the question.
Get the facts straight, dude.
You won't let them get a word in.
Look at this bullshit.
Because as soon as they start answering the question, you decide to talk even more.
Yeah. So tell me about a plane that flies 2,000 miles per hour.
Because you don't want them to be right. You just want to hear yourself talk.
What fucking plane flies 2,000 miles per hour, dude?
Right.
What plane flies that
fast? Whatever it is you think you are in your head.
All right, you're just. I'm gonna keep asking you till you tell me what fucking plane flies 2,000 miles per hour. You're gonna answer the goddamn question. Well, what plane flies at 2,000 miles per hour? Are you searching that shit up right now? Because you just fucking put your foot in your mouth?
No, I don't use Google Chrome. I'm gonna wait for the next person to ask me a question.
Fucking guys are stupid, dude. You say ridiculous shit, and then I'm just trying to speak. I'm just, well, god damn it, speak truth then. What fucking plane flies 2,000 miles per hour?
A transformer. Was it Starscream?
Golly, dude. This is the type of shit you guys do. I was trying to speak. You didn't let me speak. Well, fucking say some fucking facts. Some shit that's real, dude.
Yeah, it's like, and then you stop talking.
The SR-70 Blackbird flies over 2,000 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you're using for globe?
Yeah. Are you using that as an example? You're using the Blackbird?
Well, it is a stealth fighter.
Is it still in service? Is that
fucking hell?
Yes, we are.
All right. So the plane's flying at 2,000 miles per hour, and it does not have to compensate for the curvature of the Earth. Is that correct?
Yes.
McFly.
No, you're wrong. It was just the Blackbird was retired in 1990.
Art, you know what's really funny about this?
How can you be this far? Like, you're 25 years.
Art.
You're 25 years behind the current globe space lore.
You know what's really funny about this sometimes?
Dude, you just said the SR-71 was still in service today, the Blackbird.
Even though we live in the time of information and stuff, people still believe the Earth is flat for some reason.
You think the SR-71 is still in service today?
I was told not to mute nobody, so I'm not muting nobody. I'm just ignoring.
Yeah, if you want to talk 1v1, if you want to talk,
I already answered for this.
If you want to talk 1v1, just say so.
Weirdo.
Yeah, you call him a weirdo. Yeah, you guys get your facts wrong, dude. Like, at least come with something correct and then use that as an example. And then you can put forth a claim. Say, okay, this SR-71, it flies at 2,000 miles per hour. Okay, let's use that. But get your shit straight. Like, we're not just going to take a mere hypothetical.
Yeah, so 2,000 miles an hour, we'll go with that. How much curvature or how much will the plane have to dip down to compensate for the curvature to maintain altitude? I mean, that's kind of a misnomer or a misspeak, but I'll deal with your paradigm.
I don't know because I'm not a rocket scientist.
Fucking hell.
Well, good news. This is not rocket science. This is just aircraft. No rockets involved.
Isn't this what they brought forth? Look, guys, are you going to bring globe evidence? Or are you saying, well, I don't know about that, but, whatever that was, who knows what that was? Well, then, okay, are you going to bring something that shows that the Earth is a globe at any point? Or are you just throwing shit out? Well, a banana's yellow, and it's been, genetically modified. Like, who cares, dude? What does it tell us that the Earth is a globe?
Why should he have to bring in evidence? Y'all are using hypotheticals.
It was your point, dude. It was your point, not his.
You see what I mean? You ask a question, you refuse to let somebody give an answer. Yeah.
No, that's not true. The question is about your point. Okay, so you brought a claim. The person who brings the claim has the burden of proof, and so far you've provided none. For all the claims that you've made, we've heard nothing. We've seen nothing in the side chat. It's bullshit, dude.
What's
because
wrong?
You're making claims, and you need to make some kind of attempt to prove the claim that you're making.
It's almost like you have. It's like you almost have a problem with people doing to you exactly what you're doing to them.
Oh, bullshit, dude.
Y'all are bringing hypotheticals like Superman and Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, that's great. No worries.
So he's saying he's just making mere hypotheticals that have no coherence to reality. Is that what he's saying right now?
So y'all could bring in hypotheticals like Superman and Grand Theft Auto, but I have to give literal evidence.
Dude, fucking hell, dude. Yeah, CB, he's going back to when you refer to GTA. He thinks you're saying it, dude.
You can travel like GTA. The only reason I'm bringing up.
No, I'm just saying. I'm answering.
Travel like that.
I am going to answer your questions the exact same way you're answering mine, by giving no evidence and just making comparisons that have nothing to do with.
So you're admitting that there is no evidence for the globe, then? Which you're admitting right now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm going to start answering.
That's just what you said right now.
If you would actually
don't listen to them. They're trying to gaslight you.
If you would actually listen instead of talking over me, I said,
dude? I did listen to your dumb ass. You said, I'm doing to you what you did to me, and I'm giving you no evidence.
You're not even letting me explain it. You're just talking over me.
Explain what? Shut your dumb ass up, dude. You know what? Make a claim and then provide the evidence for once. Stop fucking filibustering. Just do it.
What I said was, y'all are answering the questions without evidence, so that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start answering.
Which question? Which question?
Oh, about how a plane can't fly in a straight line because it's not GTA. So if you're going to provide example,
That's not a question. What is the question? There should be a question mark at the end of your question. It should start with how or why. So give us the question. Give us the question.
Exactly what I mean.
Wait, can I respond?
Yeah, so you don't have a question then.
So if somebody mutes somebody,
you're really low, man.
So you're just supposed to let people talk over you.
Bro, what's the question?
Okay, if your question is malformed, okay, if your question is broken, it's better off interrupting you instead of going down some cringe meth-filled symposium about why your question's wrong. Just stop.
Bitches about not wanting vocal chaos, but it's all right for you to talk over people.
No, it's different. It's different because this is not the concept that we're talking about. We're not talking about audio chaos where people are talking over each other. You're being told to stop because your question's malformed rather than continuing down this really broken line of thinking. It says, hey, listen, that is a logical fallacy. Your question is X, Y, and Z. You're given direct feedback. It's not just to interrupt you because we don't want to hear what you're saying. It's to interrupt you so that you can fix your shit and present something testable, repeatable, or observable, rather than just a random freak out because you don't know what words mean.
All right, is it my turn? Or are you going to start talking when I start talking?
Can you fucking present your claim, dude?
You just said that y'all are interrupting me to get me to stay on track.
God damn it, dude. I hate these fucking Glovers, dude.
You see what I mean? Exactly that right there.
Dude, shut up already, dude. If you're not going to do shit or get off the pot.
But if I mute him, I'm going to get bitched at, right?
Take a fucking knee for like 2 minutes. Collect your thoughts and come with a claim. God damn, dude. That guy is fucking...
He's cooked. Welcome, Zetsui.
Yeah, boy.
This guy, you know what Bev is doing right now? I don't know if you guys want to hear this crossover drama, but he's claiming I've taken pictures outside of his house and posted them online. Yeah, I shouldn't.
Dude, there's not even any time of day where that it would be remotely even conceivable in your world. Like, is he delusional? Like, does he think like the whole world's like revolves around? He's just making drama up, dude. He must be that bored, I guess.
Yeah, he's trying to get me banned from this server because I've cyberbullied and harassed him. That I've taken pictures of his house, and I'm like, so the admin's asking him to present proof of that I did this. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, Miggy, talk to Zetsui. Is this your first time here, buddy?
No.
Zetsui.
So you've been here before?
In the server, yes. In the channel, a couple of times. I mostly just like to listen while I work.
Have you talked to flat earthers before?
A couple of times.
Okay, what'd they say?
Like I can't really agree. Like it'd be better when I regurgitate their statements, but
what did they say?
That they believe the Earth is flat. I mean, I don't. What do you mean? You mean like?
I mean, that's kind of a given, but like, what specifically? Do you remember anything? Anything stand out?
Specifically topics: the Antarctic Treaty. That one pops out in my head.
Okay. Anything else?
The seeing things over water for long distances away.
Okay.
That's about it. That comes to mind.
You think the Earth is a globe for sure?
I believe it is, yes.
All right. What are some reasons what make you think it's a globe?
Because my default position is like, so absent reasons to think the opposite, there's a lot of things I basically I don't know. I don't know that Ohio exists because I've never been there, but without reason to believe that there's a reason why it doesn't exist, it's kind of like I assume it is, basically, absent a reason to not do so, especially when there's no cost to it.
I'm from Ohio, so it definitely exists. But so you're saying that it's a globe because you haven't checked? Or what are you saying exactly?
Well, I'm saying, so based on the information we have currently, so I think the easiest one I can think of is just time zones, that I have no idea that, or even seasons, the fact that everything seems to be able to explain with one answer of the Earth is a globe, and then I have to come up with new, like if you want to make it flat, it'd have to come up with a new answer for each individual thing.
No, it's not. It's the same answer, dude. Like if you think about it, the sun's proximity to your geographic location is what's causing that. So if the sun's closer, it's hot. Yeah. So
that's not a temperature thing. The thing is that there's no reason.
Yeah, but it's hotter right when it's closer to you. So when it moves away from you in the wintertime, then you can see that the seasonal change is due to the fact that the sun's moving away from you. So seasons happen because of the sun's proximity to your geographic location. It's the same answer as it would be if the Earth was a globe. Same thing.
Well, the seasons be caused by the focusing of it. So direct sunlight would give you same energy, smaller surface area, or then it's hotter.
Yeah, but
energy,
like
larger surface area, cooler. Like a thing.
You understand? Like
the same way.
Yeah, I don't know where do you live in the world? You live somewhere in the north or the south?
North.
All right, so I mean, you think about it, right? The sun in the north during the summertime, it's it's closer to your geographic location. The shadow lengths are, they're a bit closer to 90. So what you're saying though is the sun as it moves across the sky is going to cast these shadows, and then as it goes into wintertime, the shadow lengths are going to be a lot longer. Well, that means that the sun's farther away because its proximity to your geographic locations. It's like the same answer, man. You're trying to make it sound like there must be some mysterious way flat Earth has to explain to you how seasons work. It's just the sun moving across the sky, and it's moving farther away from you, like as it moves across the sky during the wintertime. There's no magic. It's just the sun. That's all. In relation to where you're at.
Saying that the season was saying that each one of those things can be explained. What I want to answer that's like for the time zone one is the simplest one of simply saying why is there like 24-hour sun in this, like things like in Antarctica? Why does the sun like go the duration of the because you can use like a map of like when the sun when like the sun rises and falls, and if the Earth is flat, I don't actually see any rational reason why it would why the time zones would be created.
Well, the time zones are a manifestation of trade and commerce. So people have to do business with people like in China from the U.S. So you'd have to know at what time people are awake there. So that's why time zones were invented. So time zones are not time zones. Yeah, I know. But it's a malformed question. You want to know about the day and night cycle, not about time zones. Time zones are just like a construct that people made so they can do business with other places. That's what time zones are for. You know that, right? Hello? You can look it up, dude. Like, do whatever you want.
I'm aware of what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't think it's as relevant. So
it's relevant because it's the question's malformed. You're asking about day and night cycles, not about time zones. You want to know why it's day and time in China and nighttime in the U.S. That's what you're asking, not time zones. Whoever told you that gave you a malformed question. Yeah? Ask them about time zones. They can't answer that. That's what you're asking, right? Why is it daytime in China and nighttime in the US? Hello?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're asking?
No.
You want to know why people do business with each other during the daytime and some at night. Like, what is that? You want to know about trade and commerce? Is that what your big question is?
Oh.
That's what time zones are for.
Maybe the better question would be, what in the world does time zones have to do with whether or not the Earth is curving?
Yeah, he's like, well, how would time zones work on a flat Earth? Well, dude, it's the fact that the Earth is planar and the sun's over one location and not in another, and the sun's light doesn't propagate over the entire flat Earth, and that's probably another misconception that you might have had, that the sun's light would have to propagate over the entire Earth because of it being huge and bright, and it would have to dominate over the whole entire flat Earth. So that doesn't work. Yeah, well, what kind of flat Earth do you have in mind? I mean, maybe that's a misconception too. You have a misconception of what you think flat Earth is. Maybe you think it's a disk in space. Well, you think, well, flat Earthers are saying it's a disk in space. Is that what you think we're saying? They could be riddled with a whole bunch of misconceptions, dude. I don't know. You need to say something.
Like?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's what you want me to say, the word yes? There you go.
I want you to have a response like a person would if they're trying to figure out what flat Earth is. Do you think it's a frisbee in space?
Depends on the person you're talking to. I can't define that for someone else.
I'm talking to you, sir.
You're asking me for your position, though.
Do you think it's a flat Earth, a frisbee in space? When you picture flat Earth, well, that doesn't work. Tell me how time zones work. Are you thinking of it like a frisbee in space? I don't know what you. Okay, so
unless if you want to argue it as one, you can, but I'm not assuming it for you.
When I say flat Earth, what do you have in mind?
People who believe the Earth is flat. The actual specifics of it may vary.
Dude, why would you ask how time zones work then if you didn't have something in mind?
Why would I need to have something in mind specifically for you, like the person I'm talking to?
He's running away now.
Yeah, he is.
He's running away.
If he made the claim about time zones, he's trying to figure out in his head, okay, well, I picture flat Earth in my head. Time zones would not work in my head because of the flat Earth I'm thinking about. He doesn't want to tell you now. He's like, well, why do I have to say what flat Earth is? Well, because you're asking the question, well, how do you guys have time zones? Well, the only reason why you would ask that is because you have a certain model of flat Earth in your brain, and you're thinking that doesn't work. That's the only reason why you would say that.
Okay.
And what kind of flat Earth do you have in mind, bro?
You've already answered that question for me. Why don't you do that one as well? I mean,
dude,
you're doing more responses for me, apparently.
You know what?
I don't agree with what you've said so far, so.
Okay, so then what kind of flat Earth do you have in mind?
No, I didn't agree with the prior statement. We're saying that you must have that position. I go, if you're saying I must have that position, I'm okay with that, but I don't agree.
Well, what is wrong with Glovers today, dude? Like, why can't you? I don't know. It's so simple, bro. You could just easily tell me, this is the type of flat Earth I'm thinking of, and then you give me what it looks like in your mind. And then we can address why you think time zones don't work on that. Yeah, we could easily do that. Why are you being so, you just don't want to say? We'd be over and done this a long time ago. It's like you're contemplating what to say because you don't want to say the wrong thing. God forbid. Crickets, bro. I mean, you guys need to grow a backbone. Something. You need to quit being gutless, dude. Like, just tell me what you think. We'll talk about it. Fuck's sake, dude.
Yeah, otherwise there's no point in saying things like, oh, well, there's a 24-hour sun here and there, and there's time zones and blah, 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 and that only works on a ball. And actually nobody has really told us why that's the case. They just say that, and they don't ever make a correlation to what that has to do with curvature.
Guess we'll never know.
I guess we won't.